Hello everyone, it's Pepsi back here in Roblox Wild Horse Islands. The autumn or fall event just dropped in the game earlier today, a couple of hours ago. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a complete event overview, going over everything you need to know about the 2025 autumn event in Roblox Wild Horse Islands. So this complete overview will have timestamps in the video description and in the video bar down below as per usual if you want to skip to a specific section. But there is a lot to go over, so this might be a little bit longer. Let's get started so we can start going over everything in this update or event. So the first thing I always go over with these event videos is the update or change log. If you would like to see the update or change log in game or the full changelog. In game, you can check the event board and you will see a summarized version. Or if you would like to see the full update log, check the official Happy Acres Discord server in the updates channel. But I will be going over everything in this video as well. Starting with what you might have noticed on mainland, we have some autumn or fall decorations. The trees are in some autumn colors. We have the grass a little bit of a different color. We have some toadstools across the island. So you may have noticed these autumn decorations. Starting with the autumn event map. So this is a full event. So we have a autumn event map. You can access this by going to Henrietta. Henrietta Henry, which is a travel NPC here on mainland. They are located by the island decor shop, the farm shop, and the travel trailer here at the front of mainland. So you can talk to Henrietta, and Henrietta will take you to Henry's Homestead, which is the autumn event map. You can also access the autumn event map if you are not on mainland or if it's quicker or easier for you by talking to William, the boat captain. And here you can travel to Henry's Homestead from any island. Again, it is the very first island under the special islands column since it is a autumn event map. So let's travel over to Henry's Homestead. Henry's Homestead is the same map as last year. It has not been changed. So if you played last year, you might be familiar with the map. And there are a couple of horse spawns on this map. As a reminder, there is a horse spawn over here in the hayfield, and there's another horse spawn here next to the corn maze where the leaf piles are. So look out for those two horse spawns if you are on Henry's Homestead, because you never know what you might find with those couple horses that spawn each time you travel here. So this is what the Henry's Homestead map looks like. I will be going over these sections as I go through the activities and everything on the island itself. But major things you should see is here's where your main NPCs are, where you spawn in, and the travel boat. Up here you have the golden maple chest, which is where you can redeem your event rewards. And the other activities take up the rest of the island. You will see like 3 races as well and a training area. So let's get started going over everything. The first thing to talk about with the autumn event is your event currency. You have 2 event currencies. The first one you probably noticed at the top of your screen is autumn tokens. So you have autumn tokens here. They are this orange token with a little maple leaf on them. In addition to autumn tokens, you also have maple keys. So when you travel to Henry's Homestead, you will see some of these stumps with golden maple keys on them, and they cost 130 autumn tokens for a golden maple key, but you can also get them by some of the activities as well. And if you do not see one of these stumps, you can also get golden maple keys by talking to Larry and going to the event shop. Speaking of the event shop, if you go to Larry and press buy, if you're on Henry's Homestead, it'll automatically take you to the event shop. But if you are on any other island, you might need to click the event shop button at the top. And this will show you the event shop for the autumn event. So this autumn event shop is where you can spend your autumn tokens if you choose to. There are a couple Robux items here as well. And if you want to change those autumn tokens into golden maple keys, you can also do so here if you are not on Henry's Homestead and not near one of those stumps. You can exchange them just by talking to Larry and going to the event shop. So you will see a lot of items and dyes and decor over here for autumn tokens. The Robux ones, there are 2 Robux accessories, the Toadstool hat and the maple leaf kite. Keep in mind, any of the Robux items you can also get from turning in your golden maple keys. So if you do not want to purchase them for Robux, you definitely do not have to. You also have 4 Robux dyes, the Pumpkin Fade, the S'mores Fade, the Equinox Fade, and the Red Fox Fade. But again, you can get them from turning in your golden maple keys. The rest of these items are all for autumn tokens. You can see the prices on screen or if you head over to your event shop. But definitely check those out if you want to use any of your autumn tokens on those before you convert them. And next, we'll go over the turn-in option. So speaking of golden maple keys, you can turn in your golden maple keys for your autumn rewards at the golden maple chest. On the map, it is marked with a little quest icon, and it says golden maple chest. That is where you will get any of your event rewards for the autumn event. So I'm going to head over there. It's this way. I was headed in the wrong direction. So this is the golden maple chest, and you turn in 3 maple keys at a time. 3 golden maple keys at a time to the chest for your rewards. If you forgot to convert your tokens to golden maple keys, there is another stump over here. So this is where you can turn in your golden maple keys. Once you click on the golden maple chest, it'll just ask you if you want to turn in your maple keys, and you have to continuously turn in 3 at a time for your rewards. And for the event reward milestones, we do have several. So the event reward milestones are guaranteed items. Again, if you are brand new to events in Roblox Wild Horse Islands, you will get a random reward each time you do a turn-in. But at these numbers specifically, you are guaranteed to get these items. And once you reach the top of the bar, so you can see it's 500, you can continue to turn in more resources for additional rewards. So do not feel like you can only turn in 500. You can continue to grind the event as much as you want to get as many rewards as you want. I didn't know that when I was starting the game, so I always mention that. But these are the milestones. At 30, you'll get a red squirrel plush. At 100, you'll get the first event horse, the cinnamon swirl Mustang. At 225, you will get the second event horse, the pumpkin pie Andalusian. At 360, you will get 2 red fox fade hair dyes. At 450, you'll get the third and final event horse, the red Fox Friesian. And at 500, last but not least, you'll get the Toadstool hat. Anything you turn in between will give you a random reward, and past 500 will give you a random reward. So those are the event reward milestones at the Golden Maple Chest. Let's talk about some of these event horses because you may have noticed their names already in the reward milestones. For the 2025 Autumn Limited event horses, we have 3. So let me go to the horse shop. And you will see some variations. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But the first event horse this year is the Cinnamon Swirl Mustang. So this is what the coat looks on the Mustang. And the pure mane and tail color for this event horse will be the Cinnamon Fade mane and tail. So that is the first event horse. The second event horse is the Pumpkin Pie Andalusian. This is what the Pumpkin Pie Andalusian looks like. The pure mane and tail on the Pumpkin Pie Andalusian is Pumpkin Pie Fade mane and tail hair dye. And that is what that horse looks like. And last but not least, I know this one will be a lot of players' favorites, including my own. This is the Red Fox Friesian. And the pure mane and tail on the Red Fox Friesian is the Red Fox Fade hair dye. So that is what this horse looks like. So those are your 3 event horses. Again, when you get them from the milestones, they will be pure obtained. So you can obtain them that way or from capturing in the wild. Moving on to something else that does affect the limited for the autumn event, we have a horn. So if you have seen the leaks, we have event horns. And for this autumn event, we have the Autumn Vine event horns. They come in 3 colors, ivory, pumpkin orange, and pumpkin green. So you will see some of these on the horse shop, but not all of the colors are here. There are no length variations. They are all the same length. It's just the 3 different colors you can find. And these event horns can be found on any breed. So these event horns come in all breeds on the game. They do not just have to be on these event horses. They can be found in the wild, but also through other ways that you obtain horses, such as through the apple basket, the training receipts, your volcanic minerals. Any of those can also give you a event horned breed horse. All breed event horns have a 1 out of 600 chance of being found. They are with a 2 times boost, 1 out of 300, and with a 4 times boost. So if you have your personal, 1 out of 150 chance. So again, regularly, these all breed event horns is 1 out of 600. And this is a autumn themed event horn that can be found as a rare variant, the autumn vine. So let me show you what some of these look like. In the horse shop, you have a couple options. So this is what the Ivory autumn vine looks like. That is what that looks like. This is the Ivory one. And the Mustang also has the Ivory one in the event shop. The Andalusian does have one of the different colors. This one has the pumpkin orange autumn vine, so this is what that horn looks like. There is not a horse in the event shop that has the pumpkin green color, so for that one you would have to find one elsewhere for seeing what that looks like. But the autumn vine event horn will be obtainable while the autumn event is active. So those are the brand new horns. You might have noticed that we also have a boost that started when this update dropped and lasts for a day. So this is a global boost, and this is a brand new boost that is also available as a personal boost now as well. It is called 2 times horn chance, and this will give you a 2 times chance of horses being found with a horn. This includes from the wild or from various turn-ins as well. And if you activate a personal boost, it's for an hour and it's 150 boost credits. Right now, we have a global boost for the 2 times horn chance. There's about 18, 19 hours remaining. And again, these automatically apply. You don't have to do anything. So right now, instead of the normal 1 out of 600 chance, it is a 1 out of 300 chance for the next day, basically. Let's go over all of the activities here on Henry's Homestead. So I'll get started with the first one. I go over all of them, and I also go over what you get from each one. But feel free to skip to any if you are confused on a specific one, or if you already know these activities from previous years, feel free to skip this. The first activity is growing pumpkins. So this activity you can do at the giant pumpkin farm. It is right here on your map in the bottom left-hand side. The giant pumpkin farm, and also pay attention to these markers on the map. You have a fertilizer marker and a water marker. There is one on each side of the giant pumpkin farm. For this activity, you do need a harness and a cart. So if you do not already have one, you can get a free cart and driving harness right over here by clicking on this cart. But if you have already done this and obtained a free one last year, you are not able to get another, so keep that in mind. If you need a harness or a cart, the harnesses you can craft, and the carts, there is a vehicle shop at spawn on Henry's Homestead. You can also craft a cart as well in the crafting menu. So if you go under vehicles, you can craft a cart, and if you go under bridles and harnesses, you can craft a driving harness. Once you have your harness and cart equipped, to do this activity, you can go to the water icon on the map and get a bucket of water, and then give this to one of the growing pumpkins you see across the pumpkin patch. So there are a lot of pumpkins over here, and no matter which one, once you give water to them, they will start growing. Water is what makes these pumpkins grow, but if you do want them to grow faster, you can give them some fertilizer. So fertilizer is optional, you don't have to, but it does help speed up the growth of the pumpkins. Make sure you have water for the fertilizer to work. Again, if you don't have water, they're not going to grow. Once these pumpkins are fully grown, you can harvest them using your harvester. They have 500 hit points to harvest these giant pumpkins once they're grown. A lot of players you will see on public servers do this as a group. no matter how many players are harvesting that giant pumpkin with their harvesters, you will all get a golden maple key as a reward for completing that pumpkin or for harvesting that pumpkin. Okay. So once it is harvested, it'll say harvest me. It'll have a little harvester icon. So don't forget to harvest these pumpkins. If you don't harvest them, you will not get rewarded. And if other people harvest them without you, you will not get anything, unfortunately. So definitely make sure you stick around to harvest the pumpkins that you help grow. There you go. So you get some pumpkins and you get a golden maple key as well. Let me swap back to my main horse. So that is the first activity, the growing pumpkins activity. The second activity is collecting leaves. So this one is also close by to the growing pumpkins. This one is mainly at the fertilizer garden and across the map in general. The fertilizer garden will have this leaf pile. It'll be kind of transparent. And it'll say how much percentage is full. It takes 20 leaf bags to complete the leaf pile, but you don't have to complete it to get some rewards. So each time you turn in a leaf bag, you will get 5% of that leaf pile, and you get 55 to 60 autumn tokens per bag you turn in. To turn in bags, you break these piles of leaves that are across the map. So this spawns anywhere across the map. There are some in the hayfield, there's some over here. Mainly, a lot of players stick over here since it is the closest to the pile. Once you break the autumn leaves with your harvester, you can drag the bag over to the fertilizer pile. And you saw when I broke that pile of autumn leaves, you also get some autumn leaves in addition. I will mention those later alongside the pumpkins. Those are both used to craft some event colored tack and accessories. So dragging a bag to the pile will fill up the pile by 5%, and again will give you 55 to 60 autumn tokens per bag. And each time you put one of those bags, you're contributing to the pile. When you complete a pile, you get rewarded. You can get up to 400 additional autumn tokens by completing the pile, and that is if you do it by yourself. If you are with other players, and if other players help contribute to the pile, depending on how much you contribute is how many additional of those 400 bonus tokens you will get. So let's say you and a friend both do 10 bags exactly to fill up the pile, then you and that friend will each get 200 tokens because 400 divided by 2. So hopefully that makes sense. But if you're doing it by yourself, like on a private server, or if you're the only one who's contributing, then you will get the full 400 for completing that pile each time. That is activity number 2 for collecting leaves. Activity number 3 is pulling rocks. Rock pulling is, oh, my game is super laggy, at this big rock pile here in the hayfield. So as you go to the hayfield, you will see these rocks across the field, and you can drag any one of them. You don't need any additional equipment to drag the rock, and it will lead you to the big rock pile. Turning in these rocks at the big rock pile rewards you with 15 to 25 autumn tokens. So you can see I got 23 that time. This time I got 17. So it does vary. You can do all the rocks in the field, as many as you want. There is no pile to complete or anything. You just drag them to the pile and you can start and stop at any time. So again, that is activity number 3, pulling rocks, 15 to 25 autumn tokens per rock that you pull. And let's go into activity number 4. This one's kind of interesting. This is the corn maze. So you might have noticed this giant blank area on the map for the corn maze. The entrance is right over here. So the entrance is marked by this little path, and you will see one of the NPCs, Henry Jr., over here with his pumpkin cart at the beginning of the corn maze. So this is activity number 4. It's not really an activity, but as you're going through the corn maze, you have a chance of finding these golden maple keys just sitting on the ground. So this is technically the activity. Make sure you're picking up those golden maple keys when you see them, because they do help a lot and they can be super easy to collect here in the maze. But yeah, they randomly spawn throughout the maze. So if you see one, definitely make sure to pick it up. So that is activity number 4. Okay. And there are a couple things in the maze you will notice. I'm going to go through the maze pathway, but I will do a separate video on how to go through the maze because I know not everyone knows. But in the maze, you will find a couple things. You'll find some pumpkins that you can pick up. Again, the golden maple keys. The pumpkins, I will mention later, are used for tack. Which way was it? Oopsies. I already forgot. I think it's this way. I think. So make sure you're picking up those pumpkins for tack. You'll also see these giant toadstools that you can break. So breaking these giant toadstools will get you about 5 toadstools. Or 3 to 5, something like that. You can also find toadstools by itself like this. So you can pick them up if they're by themselves, and that just gives you 1. Toadstools are a consumable item, and they increase your speed by 15% for 45 seconds. So if you are hunting or if you are doing races or anything, those toadstools can be super helpful. So if you're in a maze, I would definitely pick them up. Last year, and I haven't confirmed this year, but more toadstools spawned last year if you were with more players in the server, and I assume it works the same this year. So if you are just farming toadstools, maybe try in a public server. You might find more of those giant toadstools and toadstools laying around than if you were just in like a private server by yourself. So this is the end of the corn maze. Again, that was activity number 4, is finding those golden maple keys. Activity number 5, I'll go over here because there is one of them over here. At the end of the maze, you have another NPC for Henry Jr., you have an apple basket, but you also have this, oh, lag. You also have this golden conifer tree and this fire. So this is activity number 5. It is the golden conifer tree. This is not the only place. On your map, it's marked by a bonfire, but there's another one up here by the golden maple chest, and I'll go to that one a little bit later. But these 2 trees, whichever one you choose, you can break for a couple tokens. I know this was super popular last year for AFK grinding. So you can just break this tree. You don't have to click or do anything. Just make sure you're harvesting it, and it'll slowly give you about like 1 to 3 tokens every couple seconds. It definitely isn't the fastest, but it does help with some tokens. And it also contributes to the fire, the campfire that you see over here. Last year, it did give a little bit of a reward with, I believe, some maple keys if you completely broke the tree, but there is like a million hit points, so it does take a while. I don't know if this year there's a reward, and I haven't broken the tree yet because, again, it takes hours, even if you have a bunch of other players. But I know if you go on public servers, you'll see a lot of players either at this golden conifer tree or at the one over here is more popular because you don't have to go through the maze. But you'll see a lot of players working on a tree to try to break it together. So that is activity number 5. And moving on to the races. So you have 3 races on the map, and unlike last year, they no longer give golden maple keys. They only give autumn tokens, unfortunately. So I'll go through each of them, but keep in mind they no longer give golden maple keys like they did in previous years. So the first one is the corn maze race. This is the first one I'll do because it is right next to me. It starts at the end of the corn maze, so you do have to solve the maze in order to get to the corn maze race. And you can start it at the checkered flag. This race leads you to the beginning of the corn maze. So if you are exiting the corn maze and you're not like resetting, I recommend doing this race just for the extra tokens, and it automatically leads you to the exit too, so you don't have to think about how to get back if you don't have it like memorized or anything like that. So again, this one just leads you to the exit. And this race, the corn maze race, gives you 100 autumn tokens. I got stuck. 100 autumn tokens for completing this race. So again, it no longer gives you golden maple keys, but you do get 100 autumn tokens for completing the corn maze race each time. Since this race is not a loop, if you want to grind this race, you do have to solve the corn maze each time. So I usually don't grind this one too much. I'll do another video on how I get a lot of autumn tokens and doing the math for every activity, but I don't usually use this race because, again, it's kind of inconvenient to have to solve the corn maze each time. My game is so laggy. Oh no. Okay. Almost there. And we made it. Okay. 100 autumn tokens for the corn maze race. So that is the first race. The second race I'll go over is right over here. This is the autumn tour. So this race is located across the bridge from the spawn on Henry's homestead. You start it with the checkered flag, and this race will lead you to the golden maple chest. So again, this one is also not a loop. It leads you to the golden maple chest, and you get 95 autumn tokens for completing this race. Also, this happened last time I tried recording this video, but sometimes I find golden maple keys sticking outside of the maze, which if you do see that, pick them up because, I mean, it helps. But sometimes you'll see them sticking outside of the maze if they spawn a little bit weirdly. So this one is the autumn tour. It leads you through the pumpkin patch up the hill to the golden maple chest, but you do have to go through the pumpkin patch. sometimes I see players stop if they see a fully grown pumpkin and they'll come harvest it over here with other players and then they'll continue doing the race. But if you're headed up to the golden maple chest, you might as well do the race for some extra autumn tokens if you would like. I mean, you're gonna have to go this way anyways to get there. But this is where the race ends. Again, you get 95 autumn tokens for completing this race. And this is the second golden conifer tree that I was talking about. So this one is just like the one in the maze. You can start breaking it and you don't really have to do anything, but it is very slow at getting autumn tokens. So every couple seconds you will get like 1 to 3 autumn tokens. But you find a lot more players over here since you don't have to go through the maze. And last but not least, we have the third race. The third race is the hay bale hop. I'm gonna go this way. The hay bale hop is over here in the hay field. So this race starts right here at the corner of the hay field at the hay bale hop on the map, and it is the checkered flag. And this one takes about like 45 seconds, something like that. I mean, right now I'm on a slower horse, so it probably will take longer. Also, I'm lagging and doing flips like crazy. For the hay bales, you don't actually have to hop over them. So if you go next to them, it marks it as complete. So I don't always jump over them. You don't have to. But this one just gives you a little bit of a loop around the hayfield and then leads you back to the beginning. There we go. So that is the hay bale hop. It gives you 90 autumn tokens. You also have other ways of getting autumn tokens by your regular activities. So doing any regular game activities will still give you autumn tokens. This includes catching horses, training. This also includes collecting resources if you're like mining anything or harvesting stuff. And it includes, what else? Competition hub. I think those are the main ones. Competition hub, training, catching horses, and mining resources will all give you some autumn tokens as well. Sometimes you'll see autumn tokens around the map as little drops. I forget what they're called. Like these. Sometimes you'll find them around the map as well to just pick up. So if you see those, definitely pick them up so you can get some additional couple autumn tokens here and there. Now, I am headed to this training area. You will have noticed there is a training area here on Henry's Homestead, and this is because we also have some event training activities. These training activities are limited to this event, so they only are in-game while this event is here. But if you head over to the training area, you will see there are 4. We have Maple Leaf Polework, which is the first one. It is a agility training. And a lot of these, well, the first couple have gate control, which I don't like, but I'll still do. And these give around the same amount of tokens as like other training activities, so I don't like these aren't necessarily better. It just depends whichever ones you want to use. The Maple Leaf Polework gives you 21 autumn tokens specifically, and it has 16 checkpoints. And if my game does not lag, there we go. This whole overview is just my game lagging. It was the same thing last year. I don't know why the autumn event makes me lag so much. 21 autumn tokens, 17 skill points. So that was Maple Leaf Polework. The second training activity is autumn Gridwork, which gives you jumping, and I'm not sure what else. But this one also has gate control. This one has a little bit more gate control. It lets you trot and canter, whereas the other one was just trotting. But I don't like this one because it's quite long. It's not my favorite. But you go around the Toadstools, and then you can also do some jumping at the end. And there is 28 checkpoints. In total for this one, you get 36 autumn tokens. 36 autumn tokens. But it does take a little bit longer, in my opinion. I really don't like doing these. I hate doing these with a passion. Okay. And then this is the jumping. And then you have to do one more thing. There we go. 28 checkpoints. 36 autumn tokens, 29 skill points. Then we have autumn show jumping, which is another jumping. My goodness, the lag. Okay. This one and the last two do not have gate control, which I love and I appreciate because I do not like gate control at all. But this one is kind of fun. I do like the obstacles. Autumn show jumping gives you 24 autumn tokens, so it's decent. There is 26 checkpoints. I know some players do not like show jumping at all because the show jumping in the game has a lot of checkpoints. But, I mean, I personally do. If you get in the groove, I think they're not too bad. It depends. You have to get used to it, for sure. There we go. 24 autumn tokens, 19 skill points. And last but not least, we have the giant toadstool weave. This one also does not have gate control. This one gives 15 autumn tokens, so it gives the least 15 autumn tokens. And my lag is like frustrating me. It's like server lag too. It's not fun. This one has 21 checkpoints, and this one is just with toadstools. Oh, okay. I promise I normally do better at training. If I'm not getting frustrated with lag. There we go. 15 autumn tokens, 13 skill points. So those are your 4 event limited training activities that you can also participate in. They're pretty fun. I like having them when events come around. Again, the Maple Leaf Polework is a brand new one, but the other ones you might have known from previous years. And let's talk about the last couple things with the event. So pumpkins, autumn leaves, and toadstools. Those are those 3 event limited resources. Again, pumpkins you can get from the pumpkin patch from doing that activity, or from the maze. If you are in the corn maze, you can find pumpkins there as well. And autumn leaves you can get from doing the autumn leaves activity and breaking those autumn leaf piles. And last but not least, toadstools you can get from the corn maze as well. Throughout the corn maze, you have those giant toadstools, and then you have the smaller toadstools to pick up. So toadstools, I mentioned, are a speed consumable. They give you 15% speed boost for 45 seconds. Pumpkins and autumn leaves are used to craft event colors, and those can be in your accessories, your tags, stuff like that. So let's go over those autumn event colors that you can craft. You can craft several colors. For pumpkins, you can craft pumpkin green, which uses pumpkins and leaves. And you can also craft pumpkin orange, which just uses pumpkins. For the autumn colors, you have autumn yellow, autumn red, and autumn orange. And these each use autumn leaves only for their colors. So those are the 5 craftable autumn colors: the autumn red, yellow, orange, and the pumpkin green and orange. So those should be near the top of your color selection. If you can't find them, you can always search them in the search bar. But if you are collecting pumpkins and leaves and you're wondering what you can use those for, those are what you can use some of them for as well. The autumn event ends Friday, November 7th at 2 p.m. Pacific. That might be a different day or time depending on your local time zone. So definitely check to make sure when the autumn event is ending for you. But it does overlap with the Halloween event. The Halloween event starts on Friday, October 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific. So in about 2 weeks, we will have the autumn event, and the fall event will still be in the game. But I just wanted to let y'all know, because I know not everyone's used to it. Again, the autumn event does end on November 7th. It'll be the same day that the Halloween event ends as well. And last but not least, this update also gave us some general game changes and updates as well. So I always mention those. We have animal stat cards have been updated. You can now see in more detail where an animal's unique tags come from by looking at the color of their variants. So for example, if I look at my skeleton Arabian, you can see the Halloween 22 unique tag is because of the skeleton variant. And then if I open another horse, the competition unique, and it highlights the competition coast and the fade. This one will be Halloween limited, and it highlights the Halloween limited. So you can go through your horses and see the colors now correlate with the tags, which makes it a lot easier to figure out the horse's tags and how they work specifically. Secondly, we also have a hide fantasy toggle, which was disabled. So if you had the hide fantasy enabled, it is now removed from the settings. The hide fantasy was not working for a while. It only hid the auras, I believe. So the developers of the game, Trick, said that they will revisit allowing players to hide various elements of the game in the future, but it's been disabled for now because it wasn't working properly for some time, and they wanted to disable it so they could make improvements. The third miscellaneous change and update is breeding uniques and co-breeding uniques. Their tags are now different colors. So they're now purple rather than rainbow. So I have one right here. It used to say co-breeding unique or breeding unique in rainbow. It is now a light purple. The uncommon breed tag is now light yellow rather than gray. So for example, if I open up this fjord, it says uncommon breed in yellow instead of gray now. We also have minor bug fixes and improvements, and those are all the miscellaneous game changes and updates that were included in this event update. So that is it for today's video. That is it for the whole autumn event overview here in Roblox Wild Horse Islands. If you guys have questions, or if you guys want to let me know how you are liking the autumn event, let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to hear about your opinions. I know this was a super long video, so I apologize, but I do Wild Horse Islands videos every single week, and I do live streams every Saturday and Sunday. So if you would like more Wild Horse Islands content, definitely subscribe if you are not already, and I will see you guys in my next video or live stream. Bye everyone!